Research shows that there's a strong correlation between enlightenment and education and voters. So in this regard, what type of education are we talking about? We're talking about voters' education, and there's no better time than now to enlighten, inform, educate, spend time with, and create more awareness for the electorate in Nigeria, as the general elections are forthcoming. In fact, in less than 3 weeks, Nigerians will be going to the polls to cast their vote. That's why today on Weekend Deal, we're going to focus on permanent voters card. We'll also be talking about the bimodal voters accreditation system. So we'll have a chat with the Director, Voters Education and Publicity. He will be here with us to share how far, what's been going on before, what will happen during the elections, and how far they have got the electorate covered. We urge you to be a part of Weekend Deal today, because it's all about our great country, Nigeria. One for all for one. My name is Thelma Obaza. It's our hope that you spend time with us. Our program, as you know, is one where we consider your opinions and your contributions very important and very vital. Francis has been doing some research. He's been looking at areas that concern the permanent voters card. He's been looking at the bimodal voters accreditation system. He's been talking peace and the ability to preach it and for the electorate to listen. But I know that there's a lot more that Francis will share with us this day with his background feature. Let's see it.
2023 elections around the corner. Some Nigerians are still in search of their permanent voter cards. Some civil society organizations have alleged that at least 9.3 million cards are lying idle in the Independent National Electoral Commission's offices. However, INEC says Nigerians who have collected their cards are more than those yet to do so.
In the past, what we usually see is collection is going on, nobody comes to collect it. 24 hours, 48 hours to when they are going to close it, you will not see the upsurge of persons coming out. But the other aspect of it is people's access to the PVCs, especially those people who have done transfers. Their people have had to go several times to get their PVC, and because of the fact that PVCs you cannot collect by proxy, you need to go and show yourself to be able to collect your PVC. You go to the ward level, you want to collect your PVC, you have just 2 persons attending to over 500 persons who want to collect the PVC, and people are also not patient enough to wait until it is their turn. Even though you have these issues in some areas, in some other areas it's also seamless. The INEC staff are sitting down waiting for people to come to collect their PVCs. So it depends on the area where it is. There's also the report of people selling their PVCs. You don't have to sell it, because when you sell it, the person who is buying it will not be able to use it. The person, what you have done is that you have disenfranchised yourself. You will not be able to vote. The person cannot use your PVC to vote because of the innovations that we have.
After years of agitation for changes to the nation's electoral law, the signing of the new amended electoral law was seen as a victory for democracy across the country. Among the innovations introduced by INEC was the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS. It is an electronic device designed to read permanent voter cards and authenticate voters using the voter's fingerprint in order to prove that they are eligible to vote at a particular polling unit. But how dependable and authentic is the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS?
Politicians were very apprehensive of the beavers, and you saw the earlier time of the campaigns, people kept talking about the beavers, don't use the beavers. So beavers, I say Nigerians should still put their hope on beavers. You and I as citizens will play a part. We make sure that we support the integrity and protect the integrity of the beavers. So what is happening right now is the politicians are trying to dampen the spirit of Nigerians to say, oh, if this can happen with the beavers, it means we don't have hope. We have hope, and the only way we can protect that hope is for us to protect the beavers and the technology behind the beavers.
After 62 years of independence amidst enormous wealth, poverty is still endemic in Nigeria. Consequently, politics in Nigeria has been reduced to meeting selfish personal needs. Money and food items have become the inducement to disrupt the electorate's voting preferences.
There was one election that we saw in this country, and less than a cup of garri, 50 naira groundnut, 2 cubes of sugar was put in a pack, and the face of the candidate was put on that thing, and people were queuing up to collect it. If you calculate that, the total amount that cost, it wasn't up to 200 naira. But people were queuing up, people were happy to collect it. Now, Ekiti and Osun, we saw votes being sold for 5,000, we saw votes being sold for 10,000. Last 4 years, when we went to Osun for the elections, we started hearing a new slogan. The Yoruba say, Diboko Sobe. That's vote and make a pot of soup. Can you imagine that mentality? Does it mean that before the election you couldn't make a pot of soup? How were you surviving before that time? In other areas, people were collecting as little as 500 naira. In this FCT in 2019 election, people were collecting cabin biscuit and pure water to vote. I saw that myself. Don't let your conscience be bought by 1,000, because that 1,000 you are taking, somebody may have collected 1 million naira on your behalf. So that one person takes that 1 million naira, sends his children or her children abroad, and gives you 1,000 naira to go and vote something that you will not be able to even tell your children. Come home and tell your children that the day I went to vote, I collected 5,000 naira. That's why we are in this problem.
With few days to the general elections, the biggest fear is that of insecurity, especially with the burning down of the Independent National Electoral Commission's offices in some parts of the country.
It is not the burning of INEC offices or the presence of INEC offices within our local government areas or within our vicinity that we don't have good governance. Good governance comes because of our choices. We are the people who vote, who elect those people who are in offices and are not delivering. It is not INEC. And then the issue of disinformation and misinformation, especially the use of social media, should be nipped at the bud. When something happens, the security agent should be on time to give information about the real thing that happened. You don't leave it to speculation.
The forthcoming elections should not be seen as a do-or-die affair. Everyone has a role to play.
Forget about all these shenanigans and all these things about campaigns. Everybody is saying their own. After election, politicians will decamp. After we have made enemies of ourselves. So the first thing to note is that we have one country, only one country, Nigeria. Let us go out, preach peace.
Our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on voter education and the 2023 general elections.
We've set the tone. Don't be a part of stomach infrastructural backwardness, okay? Be looking forward at great things which involve you living in peace and unity and voting according to your conscience. And to vote in the first place, you need your permanent voter's card. As we get to Ibadan now, you will learn what happens when there's a case of dual registration. From the information we get, it may completely eliminate you from the voting process.
From years to months and now to just weeks and days to the much anticipated 2023 general elections in Nigeria. Already, candidates of various political parties are stepping up campaign to canvass and gain the trust of the voting population. So also the electoral umpire, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, are putting finishing touches to their preparation for the elections. One critical area of focus is the just concluded distribution of permanent voters card (PVCs). This is a last-minute push by INEC to ensure more Nigerians have access to their PVCs and are eligible to vote.
For instance, 2 weeks ago, we had about 900,000 uncollected PVC cards. But as I speak to you, the number has drastically reduced to minimum level. But nonetheless, we are still finding a means and employing our people to come out en masse to collect the PVC, because this happens to be the key determinant factor that will enhance their chance of picking or choosing the person that will be occupying the position of seat for the next 4 years.
PVC remains the only power the citizens have to determine and have a say on those who will pilot the affairs of the country and the state the next 4 years. In view of this, we visited some centers to feel the pulse and responses of the people to the exercise. How smooth was the exercise in the state?
I just got it today, though it took a while. I registered since last year, I think May or June, and I'm very glad. In fact, it's even faster than I expected. I wasn't thinking that I won't get it, but I'm glad that I was able to get it today.
No stress, just come down where you are supposed to come and have it. Then once you are no stress, nothing, then you show them the temporary paper. Then once you get there, they will give you the original. You can see.
I feel it was very easy. I came here 20 minutes ago and I've collected mine. And I also encourage Nigerians to come get their PVC so we'll be able to exercise our franchise.
Were there challenges to picking up the PVCs? How did INEC officials attend to some of these challenges?
This woman there said they will bring some badges of cards, maybe today or tomorrow, that I should come back on Friday. But I'm speaking with their organ now. I was told that because I have registered in Ibadan Southwest before I traveled, and he said I cannot vote, that the card will not come out. That because I have registered in Ibadan Southwest already, which I don't know what to do. I asked for the way out or way forward. He said it's until after election that they can get something to do, which means I don't have the right to vote in Nigeria, for crying out loud.
We must collectively seek and continue finding the solutions, confronting all the challenges that has got to do with the electoral process.
Now that the 2023 general election is just about few days away, hopefully all eligible voters will take a step and perform this all-important civic responsibility to their fatherland. Remember, your power is not just about having the PVCs, but most importantly, voting on the day of elections.
In line with our discourse, we're going to have a chat with the Director of Voters Education and Publicity at the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mr. Victor Aluko. This discourse is so timely. How are you doing, sir?
Thank you. Thanks for having me today. Thank you.
Everyone is talking about the PVC, Permanent Voters Card. There have been a series of extensions. Where are we now?
Well, where we are is that we're in the last week of the collection of PVCs in the country. We extended to February 5, which is Sunday, next Sunday. And on that date, we expect the exercise to end, so that as a commission, we can now focus on other preparations for the general election. We actually have about 13.8 million PVCs we printed. These are about 9.4 million for new registrants. The rest were people who transferred from one place to the other, or people whose cards were defaced or lost, who we had to print new cards for them. And as at now, I can tell you categorically that not less than 95%, or even more than that, of all cards have been collected all over the country, in all the local governments, in all the 8,809 registration areas which people call wards. So we're happy about the development, and the important thing for us is to be able to allow those who were not in a register to be able to come in, so that they will be able to vote, and those who lost their cards to have the opportunity to get new ones, so and of course those who transferred, to be able to vote, because it's not an easy thing. If you are transferred from Lagos to Abuja, you cannot start traveling all the way to Lagos to go and vote. It's not easy, so you can transfer and vote here. And many people did that, and we're happy.
You're making room for them.
So we have just a few days. We have today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. For anyone that's still here to collect, to please do so. Our local government offices are open, and even in some large urban areas, arrangements have been made for resident electoral commissioners for many centers, even in large urban areas. So people will take advantage of these, collect your PVCs so that you can vote on election day.
Some say when they are tempted to collect their PVCs, they are being asked to part with some funds. Some say in some places 500, some say in some places 1,000, so they can collect their PVCs. How true, how factual is that story?
Well, we too, on the social media, we read about such allegations, and for us as a commission, we believe that the people, that is Nigerians, should be able to give us feedback. If there is any official misbehaving, because asking voters to part with any amount to collect their PVCs is irregular, it's fraudulent, and it's against our business rules. So if anybody did such a thing, you need to report so that we'll be able to investigate and discipline that person appropriately. PVCs are free. The government pays for the PVCs, so we give it to Nigerians free of charge. Nobody is to pay for any PVC, because it takes a lot of effort for people to register. For registration, a lot of enlightenment, a lot of persuasion, a lot of encouragement, and then people register. We also have to do a lot of enlightenment for people to come and collect. So why should anybody be asking anyone, people who even paid, maybe spend some money for transport, to come and collect PVCs?
It's an unpatriotic act.
It's extremely, if it's happened. So if there's any place it happened, we will not take it lightly as INEC. We will deal with such officials in a very high way, in a very punitive way.
Still on the issue of PVCs, some wonder, why did there need to be a deadline at all? Can't we keep collecting our PVCs up to the election day?
No.
Is that a distraction for INEC?
No, it will not be easy, because we deal with data, statistics. We need to put an end to collection at a point in time. It's a huge country. We need to be able to know how many PVCs were collected in each polling unit. That is, in each local government, in each ward, and then of course for each polling unit, because each PVC has a code. Every person who is registered is allocated to a polling unit. So we need to be able to know how many persons collected PVC, because the law says you can only vote with your PVC. So if 500 persons are registered and are to vote in polling unit A, let's say there's a polling unit in area 11 here in front of NTA. We want to, and 500 persons registered to vote, and only 450 collected PVCs. What it means is that for us as INEC, we're expecting 450 persons, and that statistical figure is extremely important, because it has to do with some calculations we make. So all those data we need to collect. We cannot say election is February 25, Saturday. PVC collection will finish February 24. Which time will we have to do all that data aggregation and collection for us to be able to provide that data for even political parties? Because they also need to plan. People need to plan. It will be on our website.
So this is the last extension.
So this is the last extension. And by 5th, it will be 20 days to election. That is just 4 weeks. We need all those periods for all the aggregations, retrieval of data.
That's 3 weeks.
And all those. Thank you for all we need to do. So people should allow us, take. I told you that we have more than 95% collection. And one thing we know is it's not everybody that is eligible to register in this country are registered. It's not everybody that's eligible to collect that collected. So we keep persuading people. I knew somebody who registered in 2011 and only collected the card this week. That's interesting. Free will. The law gives you free will. So we encourage you to
exercise that
free will. So what we have now, we are happy with the rate of collection, and we are happy with the preparations we are making, and we are thankful to Nigerians, the electorate, adult Nigerians, registrants, I mean those who registered as voters, for all the participation, because democracy, elections, they are for the people. They say it's government by the people for the people. If people don't turn up to register, if they register, they don't turn up to collect PVCs, then even what would be our work? So we are happy with the way people reacted, and we are grateful. Honestly, we are.
That's quite encouraging. Is it so far? Well, we've been hearing that we have almost 100 million people who have registered so far for the elections. We hear about 44 million women and about 49 million men. How true is that? Is that with PVC collection?
No.
Or is that with just registration?
The total number of persons on our register of voters now, it's 93.4 million. We had 84 million before, 84 million Nigerians before, and the new people we added 9.4. So when we added the voting together, it's 93.4 million Nigerians that are now on the voters register.
So I'm not far from the number.
You're not far.
I said
You said about
49.
Almost
100 million. That's 93 something.
Almost 100 million. You find that if actually all eligible adults registered, we could have gotten near 100 million. You know, Nigerians, we're a huge country, a lot of population. But even then, those who actually registered, 93.5 is still good. That's a lot. That's more than the total combined registered voters of other West African countries.
Interesting. Bimodal Voters Accreditation System, popularly called BVAS, is a phrase or an acronym that you've become very familiar with, especially if you're registered to vote and you have your PVC. Shikeola's report threw more light on that.
Conducting credible elections which represent the true wishes of the people has been most challenging since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999. The electoral umpire of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, had over the years come up with different innovative ideas to raise the bar of Nigeria's electoral process to inject high level of credibility. Coming from the era of manual voter registration, temporary voter cards, to the era of online registration, digital permanent voter cards, and card readers, the challenges remain. With the latest bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, a technological device which basically promotes credible election, hopes of positive change is rife. Bimodal voter accreditation system is a technological device designed to read permanent voter cards, to authenticate voters, and to transmit results from polling units to INEC's election results viewing platform, iRev. The latest technology, the BVAS, has been the center of discourse in the political terrain, attracting accolades to the electoral umpire for their innovative feats. The electoral boss himself, Mahmoud Yakubu, does not let go any opportunity to showcase the unique features of the BVAS to the world.
Each and every machine has been tested and confirmed that the machine is functional. So actually for the last 2 weeks or so, our officials were in all the states of the Federation testing those machines. And the functionality of the machines is simply very encouraging. So we'll not take chances. The second thing we are going to do, and pretty soon, is to conduct mock accreditation exercise nationwide ahead of the election. We won't wait until the main election comes. We'll test the integrity of these machines with real live voters in selected polling units across the country. We did so in Ekitan Oshun. It was fantastic. We are going to do so nationwide. And increasingly, our people are becoming even more excited about the deployment of this technology. So we are really happy. And in terms of the numbers of the BVAS machines, we always make provision for additional numbers of machines in case of malfunction or glitches. And there is always a backup.
This indeed is one development that has helped in raising people's confidence of having their aspirations come alive in the elections. And for the major players, nothing has been more assuring.
We have evolved, and I also believe that the BVAS and the electoral process is an evolving process. Yes, there will be some challenges, but I think overall, it might be optimistic of me, but I expect that the elections with the BVAS will be pretty much the will of the people. And now we are watching out. We now know that whatever is accredited on the BVAS, let me give you an example. My polling unit here, if 400 people were accredited on the BVAS, I will make sure that I check the result sheets while we are at the polling unit. That is where, before the BVAS and the whole process was very new to us, so we didn't know what to look out for. So right there, you can question the elections.
While Nigerians are beginning to build their hope on the new technology, feelers from Osun Election Tribunal may cast some doubts on the totality of the efficacy of BVAS. Nonetheless, the new technology has proven to be an anti-rigging device that will hopefully checkmate many lapses that hitherto made Nigeria's elections come across as questionable.
Nigerians are patriots, and they want to do what is right by their conscience and for the country. Let's look at other arrangements that INEC is putting in place to ensure successful elections. Tell us.
Yeah, a lot is happening. A lot is happening. After 2019 general election, for 2019, we used what we call smart card readers to accredit voters. And the smart card reader, looks only at the fingerprint. That's a uni. We can do a unimodal or something like that. That's only one feature it looks at. After we did a lot of review, we realized that we have problems really accrediting people, because what is the voter register for? The register is supposed to have the list of persons that can vote. Then, if people come, how do you intend to identify them? Identity theft is a problem in our country. People impersonate, voter impersonation, that is, somebody will take somebody's card and come and vote. Somebody will come and vote maybe many times. We realized that we needed to stop all this once and for all in Nigeria. So the commission decided to upgrade our accreditation system to a bimodal system. Bimodal means two features. So instead of just only fingerprint, we now decided to use the facials. That is somebody's face.
Let us summarize what you have just told us in detail, because the layman wants to hear. It's one sentence you used to encompass the state. With BVAS, it is 99.9% sure that rigging is eliminated. That identity theft is eliminated. That fraud is eliminated.
At the polling unit and at the collation center.
Very interesting.
So we believe that with that arrangement by INEC, the 2023 general election should be a very good election in the history of Nigeria. In fact, it should be the best so far.
Ramade is reaching us from Lagos. She says, with BVAS now, is INEC now saying that there can be no exchange of PVCs, that one person can give another person his or her PVC?
No, yes. I mean, what I said is, somebody trying to use another PVC, another person's PVC, we call it identity theft. That means you are trying to impersonate. Somebody is Mrs. Joan Okonko. You took the person's PVC. You get there, you put your fingerprint on the BVAS machine. The BVAS machine will tell you that's not fingerprint.
What happens to such people?
Such persons will be guilty impersonation. That's
and you send them home to their parents?
At that place, the presiding officer has the power to inform the security. In every polling unit, you have policemen around, so you can call on the policeman around to please arrest that voter.
So it's unlikely that person cannot just quickly slip 1,000 naira or 2,000 naira to that person and run away.
No. Our presiding officer will never do that. In fact,
they are honest, upright patriots.
We are informing and encouraging all voters that please don't take another person's PVC to the polling unit to vote. These beavers we are using will never allow you, will never accredit you.
Okay.
And so the presiding officer will easily call the policeman to arrest the person, and the person can really go to jail.
The presiding officer is duty bound.
Has the powers.
He must.
Has the powers to tell the policeman to arrest this impersonator.
He should.
Yes.
Will he?
They are all trained to do that.
Okay. We want to thank you.
The presiding officers are trained to do that.
We want to thank you because they are all patriots, yes, and they are working assiduously for the progress of this country, just like INEC is doing, yes, just like we at the NTA are doing, yes, creating enlightenment with voters, yes, education. Enlightenment has been the focus of our chat, Mr. Victor Aluko, yes, and they were going away with so much clarity. Yes. You know that Nigerians all over the world are watching and learning and being well informed. Mr. Victor Aluko is the Director of Voters Education and Publicity at INEC. It's been great having you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you. Once more, thanks for having me.
You are watching Weekend Deal. Voters education is our focus. We'll see you after this break. Don't go away. Weekend Deal. You know, when we get our teeth into something, we want to delve into it to know what makes it tick. Why have we been talking about money politics for years, some years? Some people will say it's logistics. It comes under logistics. Some people will say it's under vote buying. It's under interrogating voters' appetite. You know, it's a long, slightly winding journey, but we can talk about it. That's why Honorable Dr. Chukwuemeka Ujam is here, MNI. Great. Money politics. When we hear about money politics, what comes to mind?
In Nigeria today, and it's always been that way, politics is an expensive venture. Even in other climes, it's also a very expensive venture. But my personal view is this. Because the nature of Nigerian politics is akin to a zero-sum game, the winner takes all, and always has the ability to dip his or her hand into the cookie jar without being sanctioned. People will then do whatever it takes to get into power. So if we can change that narrative, that once you get into power, you don't have the ability to quote unquote make money, then the whole electioneering process becomes cheaper. I mean, look at the obscene amounts of money political parties charge
for forms.
For forms. So the end-to-end electioneering process is quite expensive. And if you're to view it from a strictly business perspective, once you spend that kind of money, you want to make it back.
It's interesting. I understand that angle. I heard you when you said if we can rejig or rearrange the cookie jar activities, then we can put some sanity into the road to arriving in your office, yep, and what you will do there. But without the support of the electorate, are we aiding and abetting the high level of money spent in politicking or politricking or campaigning? Because if we withdraw our informal support by collecting what is not necessary for us to vote, we reduce what they spent, wouldn't you say? So whose fault is it? Those who are receiving or those who are giving?
So, it's an interesting question because it's still almost a chicken and egg scenario. There is hunger in the land. Everybody recognizes that. But with the kind of information going out, everybody's appealing, don't mortgage your future. So you need to resist the temptation of, the quick buck at the polling station, and vote your conscience and know that you entrusted that your franchise in an individual you believe, irrespective of how much money he or she has, will be able to do the right job. And you see, many times when politicians have, as it were, bought their votes, you then don't have an obligation to the people. After all, you've paid for it. So you bought your way, you sold your franchise to me, and what I do with it is not your problem.
The electorate cannot hold them accountable.
No. But then if the electorate say, look, you didn't pay for this, we gave then you still you find that even conscience-wise you have more accountability. You owe your positioning to the people.
But do you think that Nigerians who seek to hold positions that they need to be elected to, do you think that they do that because they want to make money? Are there politicians in Nigeria today who really want to make a difference?
Of course.
Do you think?
No, of course there are. I mean,
are they visible?
Some are. If I use
when
your
you
platform,
held office,
exactly.
when you held office,
was
that your
If I
intent?
use your platform to sell myself, of course, I was one of those that I didn't set out to make money. I never did. I just wanted to serve the people. And there are few people like me. Maybe we're baptized with the name technocrats because the pure politicians really just want to make money. They look at it as an industry of theirs, and that's why people kill to get into office, because they see that there will be monetary gain at the end of the day. The person who spoke before spoke about hunger being weaponized, and that's it. It is unfortunate that there is hunger in the land, and so people will find it very, very difficult to resist the temptation of selling their vote.
It is challenging to resist, but many opine that if we really seek a progressive nation, if we want Nigeria to go global in a very positive way, we need to put that at the back burner first and focus on voting our conscience. But let's look at this pattern of going to Chatham House. The frontline presidential candidates of that we know have been there in their different capacities to showcase what they have got for Nigerians. We do know that there are Nigerians in diaspora, but at home here, we have some say over 200 million Nigerians.
Yep.
And at the nooks and crannies, perhaps the message still needs to be spread. How is Chatham House a reference point or a veritable platform when we have a country that still needs to hear and see more of those kind of people you describe, politicians, honest and vibrant people who seek office to better the people?
So the question plays, very, very well into my quarter, because I've been privileged to go to and I'm a member of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, and such places are places that the Nigerian politicians should seek to. I mean, that's the nation's think tank, foremost think tank on policy, and so that's a stage you should go to either seek their help in formulating your policy, or use that platform to say to the Nigerians or tell the Nigerians what your policy mantra is. And it's a shame that so far only one presidential candidate has used that medium or that platform, and others should do that. the National Institute is filled with brainy individuals, and as Nigeria's think tank, they should be using.
It's a great platform, yes. But it can work both ways. Is NIPS seeking them out? Because everybody knows about NIPS. Yeah. So why are they not going there? If they do not go there, oughtn't NIPS to reach out to say, are you aware we have this platform?
So I don't work for NIPS, so I don't know.
But we're thinking together.
But I would imagine that there will be that reach out, I'm sure. And then, every year we turn out beautiful policies with recommendations and implementation strategies, and one would expect that, for instance, I presented to Mr. President our last report alongside my colleagues, and so I was one of those that did the presentation, and every year brilliant recommendations come out. So we don't even need to advertise. We're out there. Everybody sees.
We also have the NIA in Lagos.
Yes, there's that. But I'll speak about the one I'm more familiar with.
And do you think that's also a good platform for them?
Most certainly.
Because Lagos,
most certainly, but
big
it's not.
Platform.
We shouldn't go to Chatham House and the likes. We shouldn't. We should.
But that should be after. Perhaps if you still seek to go, it will be after you have covered,
as they say,
the platforms that Nigeria has.
Yes.
On show. Okay. When people campaign, they say a lot of interesting, viable, creative, and progressive things. Yeah. He's saying that means perhaps from his own opinion, in times past, some people have not done as they said they will do. How do we tie those two ends together?
If I was interviewed, if that lady was interviewing me, I would say, I think Nigerians just want an honest, genuine leader, someone who, yes, as you said, alluded to, doing what he or she promised he or she would do, someone who is not there for personal reasons or personal gain, and has put the country first. That to me is the kind of leader I yearn and crave for. Now, we can't.
But how is that easily seen or identified? Because now, not everyone will be able to go in depth to begin to do research, or not many of the people that may come to the fore have antecedents in the political sphere. So how are we able to identify these qualities just by seeing? Because it's the talk. The talk is always big and huge.
Well, I would slightly differ. When you're gunning, for instance, for the number one position, there has to be antecedent. People need to have seen what you've done before.
Interesting.
Because there's maturity. It's not a child's game. So there has to be a track record. People need to have seen the kind of character that you
track record in governing, a track record in business, a track record in trade, a track record in the way you treat people,
in managing,
a track record in religion,
people, in managing people, your interpersonal skills, and you're not a lone person.
Is morality also key?
Of course it is.
Moral values?
Yes, of course it is. And as they say, who do you associate with? Who are your friends? What are you really practicing what you preach in public?
Can we also talk about it has to be somebody who has handled challenges or some intense challenges and was able to bring about a successful resolution? Is that key?
All that points to experience, and I've held political office as an appointed person and as an elected, and it can be a daunting task, and so it's not something that you just throw at anybody who has no experience and who has no capacity.
Experience is key.
Capacity and experience is very, very important, because managing people is one of the most difficult things you can ever do. People come with diverse reasonings and opinions, selfish, so you need to know somebody who can manage people, and Nigerians interesting people to manage.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. But I know that for the most part, many of them will help you to succeed if they know that you are after their best interest and your progress.
If I may add, please, the truth, and it's just because of the statement you just made, Nigerians are excellent people. If they see that this individual wants to do the right thing, they would queue behind. But if they see that you don't want to do that, they will also help you not do the right thing. And that's Nigerians for you.
Interesting angle. And all this they can achieve with their permanent voters card. So let's go see what's happening in Sokoto. We do know that the final deadline according to INEC has elapsed. Sokoto, what happened there?
2023 elections in Nigeria seems to be the most sensitive election in the nation in recent times. But then, citizens can only perform the civic rights to vote with the permanent voters card, popularly known as the PVC.
I have collected my PVC, though it was a bit difficult then. But what I say now is like it's more difficult this time. I'm a good Nigerian, so I love my country. And I love to vote.
I have collected my PVC since. It's not even about this new one. I have collected it since 2015. I advise my fellow citizens to always do things at the right time.
In Sokoto State, a higher percentage of eligible registered voters have collected their PVCs.
We have a timetable. We are on PVC distribution, and we have been recording a very good turnout based on the report that we have from the various local governments. Over 80% of the electorate have collected their voters card, and I think that the INEC has extended the PVC collection for our week. It will end 5th of February, and we are hopeful that before that, more than 90% of the voters in this state will collect their PVCs.
Now the PVC collection is at a local government level. Yes, at now, Sokoto State has 23 local government areas, and all these centers in our INEC local government offices, the collection is going on. We made it mandatory that no collection of PVC by proxy. Every individual who registered as a voter must present himself, must come by himself, collect his PVC. And I'm sure people are getting it easily now.
Citizens must see the need for the permanent voters card as the name implies. It is not seasonal.
This is the habit of Nigerians. We did most things during holy hours. So I am not surprised with that, but often all that obstacle, we will do our best to satisfy the voters to collect their PVCs.
While INEC have over time shifted closing date for collection of the PVC, citizens must clamp on the opportunity to secure the voters card in order to cast their votes for best choices of leaders for Nigeria come February 25th and March 11th, 2023.
I'm sure those dates, have been marked in the minds and hearts of every Nigerian who has a permanent voter's card. February 25th, it's taking off. Now, we agree, Honorable Dr. Chukwuemeka, that Nigerians have been well enlightened.
Yep.
They know what INEC, the NTA, and other broadcast houses have been trying to pass on. Even you have spent time with your constituents, talking to them, encouraging them, enlightening them. So they have heard the message. Will they do as we hope that they will? What did you find out there?
So, permit me to just give you a story. And this is real. Last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I was in Enugu, and in my constituency, my village. And people came around as is the norm, and we started talking politics. And I encouraged everybody: PVC, don't sell your votes. Don't. I quickly reminded them that once you do that, you deprive yourself of good roads, your children of good education. and they seemingly understand. They understand. Of course, it's not easy to resist that temptation of taking a paltry sum, but that's the issue. It is a paltry sum. Whatever you've collected at the polling station will not. I mean, you would finish it within the week, and then you're back to that agony and poverty. But if you resist that and put your faith in that individual that you believe will salvage you or salvage the situation, we agreed. I mean, for instance, I was talking to Obi, and Obi says to me, "Oga, leave this now. There's hunger." I said, "But the hunger, this will just assuage your hunger only once. Don't sell your vote. And if there's a critical mass, you start from somewhere." So I've started talking to people, say, "Look, don't sell your vote. Let's change that narrative. Let people know that, okay, when you come to Kanoland, they vote their conscience. They don't need your money. Then things start changing, and from there, others will take a cue that, look, it's not business as usual, because it's only a madman who will continue to repeat the same process and expect a different result. So right now, let's try a different process so that a different result will come out." And that's what I've been telling them. A lady was with me, she came to with her children. I said, "Look, don't sell your vote. Don't sell your vote."
Are they convinced?
Some are. As I said, it's very. I mean, I'm being realistic. It's difficult to resist that temptation to not to ignore whatever money is given to you, because sometimes the monies are much more than you've seen.
But is it possible? Another angle to this may be collect. If at all you say it's your right, because oftentimes we say that this money you haven't given us is ours. You can take what they give. Perhaps you are in the vicinity where it's been nicely shared, but you may still choose to use your PVC according to your conscience.
So, I'm not a fan of collecting.
At all,
no. It's disingenuous.
Yes.
It
dishonors us.
Yes.
And it dignifies us.
Yes. So you're still so.
Indeed.
No, don't collect. Vote your conscience.
Indeed.
Vote. Just go in and vote. There's no need to
even collect at all. Another school of thought also says that once somebody offers you money for your PVC, for your vote, they are corrupt. That already tells you that this is not my candidate.
Well, yes and no. I say yes and no because the competition out there, you could literally sit there and see your opponent buy you out, and so sometimes.
But when you were running for a position, because you've been elected and appointed,
yes,
did you
have to give money?
Induce?
No, I didn't
people?
I didn't induce, and that's the beauty of the time when my people entrusted me with that mandate. I didn't have to induce because they already had seen the character. They knew me. They knew the.
Because you had held the position before,
they knew the
as a commissioner.
They come from, and so they were passionate about my representing them. Now, and I made promises and I fulfilled
as best as you could.
As I could.
Interesting.
And so I didn't need to induce at all.
But were you to go again for another position now, perhaps higher? This is our final question. Do you see the need? Would you still come out with empty pockets and be talking to people and be speaking grammar? Would that work?
Well, there'll be a balance. That's the truth. If you call people out to a campaign ground,
they could have drinks and snacks.
Drinks. You have to do
that's
that.
Fine.
And that's an obvious thing.
But it ends there.
It ends there.
Just drinks and snacks.
Yes.
That's fine. And then you see them off, everybody says bye-bye, and it's done.
But
that is the way it has to work.
Truly.
We need to thank you for coming on Weekend Deal today. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
I've enjoyed myself. Thank
Honorable
you.
Dr. Chukwuemeka Ojam, MNI, honorable member of National Assembly and a former commissioner in Enugu State. It's been great chatting with you. The youths need to listen. The youths need to learn. Nigeria, it can work. We go on a break on Weekend Deal. We'll be back. Don't go away. Let's take out a few messages. I don't agree with the fact that experience is one of the keys that qualifies one to contest for election. You cannot have experience over something or anything if you did not venture into it. Can we please stop saying that one must have the experience? Give everyone a chance. You didn't tell us who you are. Mohammed Aoud from Maiduguri says, I have not yet got my PVC. I went to the venue 2 times and I was told that it is not yet ready. How can I get it now? You need to go to an INEC office and you need to lodge your complaint. But something tells me that you may not be able to vote in the forthcoming elections. Good morning. My name is Ovie Edojarero from Delta State. Thank you, Ovie. He said, I went to collect my PVC. They told me I couldn't find my own. They gave me a form to fill, which I did after some weeks. I went back and they said I should wait and that INEC will send me a message. Ovie says, from that time up till now, which was 3 weeks ago, I have not got the message from INEC. Please go back and lodge a complaint. But perhaps you may not be able to vote on February 25th. But who knows? Just go to INEC and lodge your complaints. We thank you as always for being a part of our program. Voters' education does not stop this day. We'll continue tomorrow. From all of us here, we say thank you and make sure your day is productive and you remain a patriot. Bye-bye.